Biggest challenge you faced?
Pardon?
Biggest challenge you faced in the doing?
For this show?
Yeah.
Getting everybody together, I think, was critical, and there was a little bit of a financial piece that was missing because we co-finance our stuff. So once we had Collection Media on board, which is a big South American media company, we knew we could do it, and that basically triggered it all. Plus, they have the scripts and the Bible and everything kind of moving along at the same time. And also, our company itself, Volume Global, has the wall, the digital wall. So that's a critical piece to make this a success too. It enables you to just be much more efficient on shooting the show.
What were the elements that really attracted you to this project?
Well, I love sci-fi. I've always loved sci-fi. I'm a writer too. I'm in the Writers Guild, and my first film that I wrote was called Retroactive, which was a time travel road picture grindhouse crazy thing shot in Lancaster here. I've always been sci-fi. I was actually involved in a Gene Roddenberry project right after that called Quester Tapes, which was an obscure pilot that was done in the 70s. So sci-fi is my thing. Sci-fi reflects society, and you can get away with stuff you couldn't if it was just a straight drama. It's really important. It's not just the visual element to it, it's the storytelling. What ifs and everything else, or what could be, or what might be. It's a lot of fun. I think we're all geeks for that.
Yeah. Terrell, Big Over Media. How'd you guys decide on prom being the best choice for this show?
Well, it was David, one of our David Cormicon, who brought it to me, saying this is what he would like to do. So it was his passion for it, and as I was mentioning before, passion drives any project. When everybody else is just kind of, yeah, we'll do that, there's always somebody that, no, we have to. I'm going to keep pushing this in front of everybody or get this thing done. So that's really what it comes down to, someone's internal passion for a project, for an IP or whatever it is. And not listening to anybody else.
How do you think that time is going to move on in the world of sci-fi as we've got now? Because the genre sphere is quite big at the moment, and obviously everyone's got a little stake in it.
Yeah.
So how do you think that the time
Well, I think, as I said before, I think the elements of sci-fi you can run with, and so you can explore certain social issues. It's always been that way, and we can, in sci-fi you can get away with that without saying it's not the real world, but it is, or it could be. So sci-fi is always strong for that. That's my opinion. And you can go in any direction you want too, and take risks that you couldn't normally do in a regular drama. Create environments to go. But if the world was this, then we can do that in sci-fi. I think that's what's great about it. It's not about flying saucers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, the visual is cool, right? But you can have all the great visuals in the world. We've seen enough sci-fi that's great, but the story sucks.
Yeah.
It's all about the story. Yeah, I'm a huge story guy. I'm huge in structure and everything else. If the story doesn't work, then why are you doing it? We can all make cool, pretty stuff.
You say you had a Bible already?
Yes.
How big are you talking here?
Characters, fleshed out episodes, all sorts of stuff like that. We're just starting to work on the levels too for the wall. So the visuals come in with Jonathan. He's starting to have the input as to what he'd like to have. Luckily, because he's done all his work on the Star Trek series, that he's really used to working the workflow for shooting on a wall, which is great because we're dealing with a lot of directors for the wall right now that have never worked on a wall before. It's a big learning curve. Anybody that's never worked on a wall before, you basically have to throw everything out the door. Any way or concept that you've ever directed completely is a different way. So you've almost got to go back to being that kid in film school and learning all about it with the skills that you have. So it's really critical. I mean, I learned it as a writer-producer, and I'm directing on it as well for some projects, and it's nothing compared to the way you've directed normally. So it's really different. But he'll be great. He'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
How closely will the script follow the novel?
Pardon me?
How closely will the script follow the novel?
I can't say just yet because a lot of the stuff in it has kind of already occurred, or pieces of it already have. So you've got to change it up and kind of extrapolate and go further with the idea of whatever those things are, like iPads and stuff like that. You know, they're already commonplace. Now, while back with that IP, it was a game changer thought. Just look at whatever
iPhone.
2001: A Space Odyssey. You see them on iPads, right? The movie and everything else. I mean, so. But that's what sci-fi does. It's really cool. Look at Star Trek.
What if,
Like Star
yeah,
Trek,
what if.
basically everything's Star Trek.
Get those transporters to change my life, man.
Oh my gosh, that's what
look
I'm
at,
waiting on.
Look at the first phones that came out. They were all flip phones. We thought they were the coolest thing. Yeah, we felt like we were in Star Trek. Even the Matrix was cool. Like, it's all cool stuff.
What level of concern do you guys have right now for like any blowback from the fans? I mean, obviously that's your first priority is make sure you make sure those fans are taken care of. But like,
Yeah, there's a base core always to the IP, but you also have to take dramatic license to it to make it contemporary. This is what I went through for Quester Tapes with the Gene Roddenberry project, where the seed of the idea was this android put on Earth as a caretaker, the last caretaker on Earth, and so you had to, when we were developing that one, it's a refresh, a contemporary version of that. So you can't sit on the original IP and say, well, it was like this. You have to adapt to what today's society is thinking and breathing, and because there's social issues today that didn't exist back then that they were pushing, sort of thing. So all those things come into play.
yeah, you kind of can't ignore that. You have to modernize everything. I mean, even
Absolutely.
with your latest Marvel films, they have to switch stuff from that was in the comics, change clothing, stuff like that. So,
Yeah, in any industry, right? Look, they changed the Corvette, right?
right.
Right? They can't go back to the Stingray of the 70s, which is cool. But
Get those DeLoreans back.
yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Nothing about casting yet? No casting news?
The only casting I can say, I think they're starting to say it now, is we're having an open call for the female lead. So
That'll be key.
it's really cool, yeah. So and we have the luxury of that. That's the thing. If you were engaged with a Netflix or Amazon or Apple, they would be completely controlling that, or having to sign off, while doing it independently like what we're doing. We have complete autonomous casting choices. We're not on any agenda in that respect, on budgets or anything else. It's really critical. We're going to find someone that's going to be a megastar.
Creative freedom.
It should be that way, shouldn't it? I mean, as guys as old as we are, we've had the experience how not to do things.
Yeah.
Just like the element of making it without having to sell to an Apple or a Netflix. Yeah, sure, they're kicking the tires right now on us, but we're like, no, we're just going to wait, and we're going to show it to you when it's finished. We'll have the pilot here showing next summer. Which will be
Stick to
really
your
cool.
guns, that's good.
Yeah, and maybe we'll let them in the room. But we have the luxury of doing it. We work really hard to get to where we're at to co-finance our stuff. With even Claxton Media, which really, really helped. And so that luxury enables us to be a little bit maverick and independent producers.
The budgeting is no problem. The money's there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That's it. We have we call it financial engineering. We're pretty creative in that respect. But a lot of these things don't need to cost as much as the Netflix spending $15 million.
I know.
Like I look at that going, give me $15 million, I'll make 15 shows. Like it's that level of filmmaking when the way I came up with no budgets. You learn how to do your craft, and no one cares how many people are behind the camera. Right? They care about the quality of the storytelling. Right? And so, if you can be independent and know what the budget is, you can make any budget work. I actually lecture at colleges on no budget filmmaking. I had a bar bet with a friend of mine years ago that I could make a film for $1, and I did. I made a film for $1, and yes, you ask for everything for free. You couldn't do it for $0 because legally there has to be a value to it. So we did it for $1. And it was to prove to these students that were doing student films and spending $50,000 or $75,000. And I go, and they're shooting over 2 weeks and 9 days. And I'm going, I shot this film in 9 days, full feature, absolutely everything, 4K quality, everything else, and it cost nothing. And yeah, there were tricks to it, but it was more about proving that it doesn't matter what the budget is; it's what you do with it. You figure it out.
I'd like to see that film. Where is it? Where can we see it?
Oh, I never showed it to anybody. It's actually the most profitable film of all time because my mom gave me $1,000. So they always talk about Avatar, it was like 10x on return. Nah, my mom beat it. She gave me $1,000 for this feature film that cost $1. No one can show that profitability. I show it occasionally, but it's just it's fun. It's like Superbad meets. It's a Superbad vampire thing about teens that bet that they won't lose their virginity on prom night.
I know you're doing 6 episodes per season, right?
Right.
How long will a season take? How long will an episode take to film, do you think?
Our budgets on our shooting days on them are about 7.5 days.
7.5 per episode?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite short, isn't it?
Yes. Well, the ability of the wall makes it efficient, right? So you can, because there's no lighting, you actually pre-light everything. So the actors love it, so they stay engaged in their character. So when you do the coverage of shooting on the wall, you're not waiting for the lights to go over here, your grip's moving around, and the traditional way of shooting. You actually just pick up the camera and shoot it. And our system covers the lighting on it. So we have a tracking light. It's a new technology that no one's using right now. It's a tracking light that follows them around from our ceiling LED monitors. It's really cool.
Sounds cool.
So you finished filming a series in just over a month and a half?
Yeah, you can shoot 30 days in one day. 30 pages of a script in one day if it's dialogue. Yeah. That's how fast you can shoot. Yeah, I'm doing a series on our second wall that we're putting up in Sudbury, Ontario, and I'm designing it to shoot hour episodes in 4 days because it's just dialogue. It's not a sci-fi element. So it's a stage play, and the actors love it. They can stay. We use 2 cameras, and it moves really, really fast. So you save costs. There's the cost savings in that as well. It's incredible.
I only thought about them being used for sci-fi. I hadn't thought about them being used for...
Well, I wish I could pull up the trailer. We did a quick sizzle reel for the film we just shot, which basically it all takes place in a night in New York City, and we shot it in 16 days in action film.
Wow.
on the wall.
Yeah, and it was actually our stunt. All our stunt people are, Melissa was from Deadpool, Marcos, our second unit director, did Bond and Bourne and Iron Man, and they were just amazed how fast we could move with our stunt teams and all that stuff. And it looks fantastic. It's with Michael Jai White, so that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And he loved it. He always wanted to work on the wall, so he was going, this is the best way to make films ever. So he loved it. It's pretty cool.
It's interesting. Like you say, the money that can be saved for all these people spending $50 million on
Give me $50 million, I can do, honestly, 30 shows. It's crazy what they spend. And now they're coming to our level, right? They're refreshing Netflix. They're going, oh my God, we're not going to spend $100 million. Well, of course you don't need to spend $100 million. That's what we've been doing for years.
So where do you think that money goes? That wasted money?
It goes to cash grabbing overhead. It's got nothing to do with the actual physical production of the crews. The crews work really hard. A crew cost per day, apart from the James Bond levels or Avengers, even then, it's just such a waste of money, some of the stuff that they do. Common sense doesn't prevail on those levels. Because a lot of it is legacy producers attached to it, and then they market it and just jam that through those budgets too.
You're not talking about second unit costs, right?
No. Second unit's nothing too. I've done so much action stuff. It doesn't cost anything. You have 2 guys in the camera and a couple of guys in the stunt team that know what they're doing and rehearsed it and made sure it's safe. You can crash a car anywhere. Right? Like, you don't need to have Michael Bay 12 cameras set up 3 days before that kind of level. It's ridiculous.
I mean, like a lot of that changes too. Like actors, going in second seasons, contracts renewed, they want to get paid more money.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, how
But
do you?
the actors don't cost that much more. And
I mean, when you think about stunt casting, I mean, not stunt casting, but like the higher level the actor for those shows that you mentioned, the more they want to be paid for that show to be made. So
yeah, so that brings up an interesting point with the digital wall. Let's say you've got Chris Hemsworth, who's around here right now,
Yeah.
and you've got him for. You'd think that you need him for 4 days. On the wall, you don't need him for 2. So if he's per day fee, let's say he's $1 million a day, you're saving $2 million on shooting him out in 2 days. What's really cool which very few people are doing with the wall right now, is you can digitally scan him, and so in the scenes where he's not talking but he's actually in the scene, you can digitally project him on the wall, so he actually is standing. Let's say that's Chris there with you. He could actually be there, but he's not there because the wall will image him there. And that, so you only need him for 2 days because he's not saying any dialogue, he's just in the scene. So you shoot out his dialogue, then you put him in the next day because you still have to finish shooting the scene. But he's digitally there, but he's not there. So you're saving 2 days shooting. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ready?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So much fun.
It goes
I want
really
everybody
fast.
to learn this so that we can all, like, you're all welcome to come up if you ever want to come up to our wall and take a look at
Let's
it.
save some money.
Yeah, no, because it's really critical that everybody understands this is the best way to shoot a film or a show or a game. It really is. Anyway, thank you all.
Thank
you.
Great stuff you're doing. Thank you.